Okay, so now if you're going live now, you can add, invite new.
Just got to figure out the quirks.
So we're using this mic, Dave?
Well, it was off to the side.
Yeah, I did probably off the side like this.
I think I just stand right here.
Do you have something we can point at things with numbers, Ray? A pointer?
Laser pointer. So
I
you,
thought I
I mean,
saw one somewhere.
you can always do this number.
And it's, let me
Like
just see if
that.
I can find the laser pointer. Okay.
It's me.
Dave, I'm giving you controls to reset. Down to your face. Great. Yeah, that's fine. You can see how it works.
Pretty good. You want to talk a little louder, like, see if I can make your audience working in the
Sure.
Jack?
Yeah, the microphone's right here. So we're gonna stand, basically stand right here, and talk to the guy there, and talk to the judges.
Still talking, still checking, still talking.
And then,
Howdy.
Hello. All right, I'm volunteering. I didn't show up to any of the other meetings.
you know, the fellow that asked,
Yeah. Everything good? Is that?
it was okay, a little quiet.
Can you pump up the audio volume on the computer?
Maybe turn down.
Yeah.
Hey, Scott. I want to introduce you to these guys from Open UCI.
Hi.
So they're the guys that built the,
I'm Dave. I did high five. Awesome. Are you the Dave I'm going on? Yes.
I'm the lead training.
I'm sure.
Okay. Then we have the other ones, get the resumes or other, presentation.
Sure.
Okay, I you're gonna want to talk to this guy, which is really laughing at the team, so, for example, we're collecting all of these.
Are you looking for the control?
You're watching your video. Well, I was
Recording.
Why
not update the website?
So it's one, the human lab video.
Yeah.
And then we first on time, get proof on. Hey, but that's gonna you can charge a lot.
That's the one on the coffee cup, right? You got, oh yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
Click on your picture, you get a picture right there. Oh, really? Yeah.
You guys always nice to make you to make it more obvious. Well, originally I had it like autoplay, but that was kind of cool. So, yes, but it's there. There's some Easter eggs on the site too. I haven't heard anybody. Yeah, so there's some obvious ones like oh, did it? Yeah, I tried to get my ability to do yeah.
So I noticed that, we're on three. When I got up,
Volume all the way cranked up.
and then I saw, like,
Oh, you're playing the background too.
Yeah.
Check, 1, 2, 3.
It said it doesn't start at 8, it starts at sunrise. Yeah. That would have made it very bad.
Okay, now I'm talking real loud. Check, 1, 2, 3. Check. Yes, 1, 2, 3. How, you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
So the,
Check, 1, 2, 3.
As soon as
Yeah.
24 hours.
Yeah, well, we're open source, so you can have all
It comes through a little bit, not really loud.
Can you boost it on the other end?
The volume's all the way up on the other end.
Well, you know something. But as many people are here, we could do all of it. That would be nobody remarks.
That's great. Like, first being started there, very cutting edge. With some of the
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll get her.
So if my head, they've had these pretty, I get what people think about that work that we're doing in the Army. And I see that Richard Richard has a topic coming out on wanting a transradial direct current stimulation.
Well, okay, so, well, maybe. They're both.
Oh, I didn't know that. That makes a lot more sense then. I was like, why is Richard McKinley the hearing? I worked with Rich McKinley, the hearing guy, several times on that. Right. Okay, that makes so much more sense now.
Even I have to, when I'm, you know, arguing or more down.
That's right. I look like things that are.
I think that's.
Okay, so just gotta go back ahead with your slideshow.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Go forward, go back.
Three forward, two back. Can't do this.
Okay, so good morning. On behalf of the Air Force, I'd like to say thank you guys for all coming out today. I know it's really early.
All right.
So my name is Monica. This is my first hackathon, and I'm working in the military, just right across the street in the Air Force District 5. Couple things that I want to go over with the district. I'd also like to introduce our main volunteer team. He has Dave Caraway, our hackathon guru. He's been doing an excellent job reaching out to all of our different sponsors and getting you guys connected. We have Mr. Bob Lee, aka Mr. Angry Bird.
Angry Bird. Have Angry Bird full size.
Yeah.
Tension relief. You can do it.
Yeah, you guys have matched your welcome bag, so it should say maybe not. Lastly, Dr. Scott Balster, Lord of the Sensors.
Yeah!
He's chief of the High Neuroscience grant in AFRL under the Southern Electric. So no kind of feel right after this. And I'd also like to say thank you to a couple of volunteers. Some of them were outside, you guys met them in the registration booth. We have Ryan Tavares and Rhea Halter-Metzger, Louis Pinheiro, David Worth, David Best, and Martin Steiger. So thank you guys for all your hard work and dedication. They put a lot of hours into this. So give them a round of applause. And then lastly, for logistics, go ahead and look at your map inside. You can see the designated areas for sleeping. We have male and female areas. as well as clean rooms and workspace, and just make sure that you guys don't go into the red areas that are off limits. Please be cognizant of the emergency exit and restrooms are just down the hall straight out here, and then just make a right.
If we hit the women's restrooms, just make it a challenge.
All right, and then lastly, for those of you guys who are happy to the night, make sure to bring your bags with you, because we will be closing the doors to purchase and security. So make sure you just bring it with you. All right, and then I'll hand it over.
I just wanted to remind you that on each end of the building, there are access, so if there is fire or anything like that, you can get out very quickly. I want to encourage all of you hackers to use the hard lines. We do have wireless here, but it'll bog down pretty quickly with this many people working on it. We have power strips, data cables in the founder's room, so you can pick it up and plug into the line. The only thing is that some of the ports aren't turned on. Yours doesn't work. Talk to Martin or Luke, and if you would run their Luke back there, Martin's over here. Just come and see that. And for those of you who smoke, this is a non-smoking facility, so you can actually step outside. It's going to be a beautiful day today, so you can want to step outside and smoke out there. Okay?
And on behalf of Code for Dayton, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out. Big thanks to our sponsors that help us make this happen. And also big thanks to our presenters and especially everyone who's coming from out of town. Really do appreciate your assistance and all this. It's going to be a great time. I think everybody's going to learn a few things. I plan to learn a few things. I have a few hacks of my own that I'll be doing. But a big part of this is going to be about teamwork. So there are no one-person teams. That is one of the things that's not. So everybody has to work with at least one other person. We do have some remote folks as well. Some folks outside the country actually. So we really encourage you we're using Slack for communication. If you leave, you can still chat with us. Everybody should have an invitation to Slack. If you don't, please find the account to get an invitation. And then again, do see the rules on the website. This is an open source challenge, and the challenge description is on the website. We'll have a bunch of different stuff going on, but you're all going to be part of the. You'll be able to get feedback for all the work that's going on and help drive the process. And so once again, thanks, and we'll happen.
And if there's anything that we didn't cover, and you run across it, just see any one of us volunteers. We got the nice great badge here. Come and see us. We'll help you out with anything we can.
And the volunteers will be hanging out at the ride room, so it's just the ride room. That's everything. Or hit us up on Slack.
All right, so we'll have Dr. Olson start the presentation.
Thank you, Monica. I want to reiterate what Monica said is the level of effort that the volunteers have put into this and getting this together, it's just been phenomenal. And so I work at Air Force Research Lab in the 711 Team Performance Training and I'm the branch at 5 neuroscience. And I really love my job, and part of what I love about it is I do stuff like this, which is great. In other places, I know that you don't have that kind of flexibility. To give you another example, in May, we helped facilitate a quadriplegic and a race car driver drive a pace car around the Indy 500 speedway, motor speedway. And so those are really exciting kinds of projects that we get to work on, and this being one of them. So what I wanted to do was just kind of put this into a framework of context. So we do human-centered research and mostly focus on increasing our airmen's performance as they're doing their tasks. And I'm going to show you an example of the taxonomy that we use and then what it is in the challenge space that I really want you guys to focus on. So looking at this, this would be an RPA or remotely piloted aircraft operator flying around a drone, UAV, RPA, those are kind of interchangeable. And we want to sense using a lot of different sensor types, what's going on with them, physiologically, cognitively, physically, and we want to sense their functional state, assess that relative to the performance that we're seeing, and that's really important in that sometimes stress is a performance enhancer, and so they're under a little bit of stress, really just firing on all the cylinders and so forth. But at some point, if there's too much overload, and we've all been there, we see our performance start to decline, our performance definitely disappearing. So we really need to find out when that starts to happen. And then when that happens, we can institute a void mitigation or an augmentation, right? So this particular challenge is mostly focused on the sensing and assessment side of it. And there's three basic overarching challenge stages. Matt Middendorf is the lab manager for the human lab. We'll be talking more in detail right after I'm finished about the challenges. But they're really about, they're about visualizing in real time all of the sensor data that we're getting, managing that data, and then third is doing the analytics on that data so that we can do the assessment. And if you think about it, what we really are after here is being able to do that assessment in real time. Right? So if I'm taking a timed math test or something like that, it's only 3 minutes long, and I need help, well, a calculator will be like augmentation technique, not assessment, right? And the calculator 24 hours later isn't really going to help you on that test. So it needs to be done in real time. It needs to be the right augmentation. And the way to get to that is to do this assessment piece really well. And so your challenge, at least from my perspective, is to allow us to take all of the data that we're collecting and do the assessment properly and in real time. And with that, I'm really looking forward to all of the things that I get to see tomorrow. Tomorrow to be the revenue portion of this. I hope that you guys avail yourselves of the opportunity to talk to other folks and look on the unconference, some of the workshops and things of that nature. This will be a learning experience for you. I really appreciate everyone coming out to that and from the connected.
Next slide, please. Like Scott said, I'm the lab medic for the human lab, and we recently completed formal study 1, and all the data that you have access to is from this study. So hopefully everybody's got that link and get access to data. Right? No? If you don't have it, Steve Dave has it.
Available on the website right now.
Yep. Okay. Next slide. So the first thing I want to do is give you an overview of the experiment. This experiment used 12 subjects in each did a 16 trial. Now you don't have to write this stuff down and memorize it. I've got several copies of this slide with you, and I can also give you a copy of the presentation if you want. So there were 12 subjects, each completed 16 trials. The trials last about 15 minutes, and each trial is comprised of 2 separate tasks. There's a surveillance task and a tracking task, and those are performed using remotely piloted aircraft or drones. I was really using terminology. In the surveillance task, participants had to look physically, monitor a compound, and find the bad guy. And the bad guy had a pretty long gun. And in there were other people walking up. It wasn't only to see a guy who was all the time. Once you found the bad guy, you had to track him. So that was the first task. And the second task is a tracking task. And in this task, there were 2 entities. Sometimes there was one bad guy, sometimes there were 2 bad guys. You had to track the data multiple in different scenarios. The experimental manipulations used in this experiment for the surveillance task, there was 2 manipulations, visibility, and a number of distractors. So when they're trying to find the bad guys to get done, you could have different weather conditions, clear versus clean, to make part of the city. And also there was a different number of distractors again. And like I said, those other people walk on the ground. So the bad guy walks around on the ground with his gun, and the other people walk around and have shovels, game guns, and stuff like that. So they're not, you can't just pick it out. It's kind of a high vulnerable situation. You've got to look for some of the distractors in there. For the tracking task, and we didn't just make these manipulations up. We talked to actual operators with people that fly and UAVs over that thing in their life. And they said, tracking the guy in the city is a lot harder than tracking the country. So we put that manipulation and make that tracking in the city. You go behind the building, you can get approved. The other manipulation there was 1 versus 2 targets. Sometimes they track 1 target, sometimes they track 2. And obviously, tracking 2 guys here is the last thing, the data that you're going to see. The data reflected right here. Reflected a lot of physiological data, and some performance data, some workload data, and it's also a little bit of behavior data. This is a very important slide here. This is what the trials look like. Okay? So they're about 15 minutes long, and this thing right here I'm calling the scoring interval, both these for these two tasks. That's where the participant is actively engaged in the experiment. That's the data that really matters. That's what we under pressure, that type of knowledge. So like the first minute of this, it's just set up. So you'll see in these data files, they're off the time. A lot of them will start at 60 seconds. So that's when the scoring started for the surveillance task. Then they would hit the end of that surveillance task. We'll pause in the trial, and they would fill out this thing called a PLX. I'll take a little more about that. That's a subjective workload. Then the tracking task would begin, and similarly, at the end of the tracking task, they'll fill out another PLX, which is subjective workload. Now, something that's real important here, I'm saying, is please read all the documents in the documentation folder. Then you're going to find a lot of valuable information about this data. You're going to want to do this data, do the exercise with this data. These documents are in there extremely important for this. It's talk about the task, the data, the format, the data, all kinds of important stuff. And next one. So, for the hackathon, for the formal study one data, these are the challenges we have. Validate the blank detection of the data. And let me just skip to the next slide for a second. I want to talk about the whole data. So there's two types of eye activity data. We have these cameras here called Smart Eye System. Use the camera and measures the position of your eye, the position of your eyelids. We also have electrodes placed around the eye to collect the electrical oxygen. That's a associated with the eye detection. Okay, so the second challenge is to detect saccades using 4 coordinates. And I will talk a little bit more about this in a second. Then there's the data visualization. Scott talked about that. That's kind of wide open. You'll see in these lists of challenges here, some are really highly defined, well-defined. Some are very vague and open. That's where you get a lot of things that get down through here. Cognitive state modeling, relationship between data, discovering indicators of workload, identifying events associated with changes in performance, data management, and the last one is any other creative idea that you have. If you have a creative idea for data, just do it. If you put your own challenge in, I'm really the judge too. Okay. Next one. Yeah, and I talked about this earlier. So for challenge 1, validate blank data. Like I said, there was 2 sources of data for blanking. There was the electrodes around the eye, and there was the Smart Eye System. So there's an algorithm that was written to detect them on the stuff, and there's a Smart Eye System. They both are recording the point. Okay? And neither one has been validated. So this really goes into a point. We're going to try to validate the quick prediction algorithm and validate this is a question. Write a program that measures the reliability of the DOG point prediction algorithm. And there's some details in here. So I've got all of them. I'll give you a copy of them. Okay. And then the second one is to evaluate the accuracy of the Smart Eye System. Smart Eye System sometimes says there's a blank, maybe there isn't. We need to know how often that happens. You know, for our research lab, how accurate is it? And so the details of how to do these tasks are kind of in here. Read these files, compare these files, cross-check them. And I'm going to be around to answer a lot of questions about them. So this challenge here is well formulated. Now this one here is pretty well formulated. Display and detect saccades using polar coordinates. Everybody knows what saccades are? Grab eye movements and describe one part to another. So it's different than a blank. So the electrical algorithm measures the eye activity using electrodes I showed you before. There's 2 channels in this experiment. There's a vertical channel and a horizontal channel. So since you've got both axes of movement, you can put those in both coordinates. Okay? So the first thing is to generate a display for it. Okay? Tells you here about assigning the axes. And this one here, pasting up the display, is very important. In this data file, there's a timestamp for every entry in. So you want your display to update according to that timestamp. questions about a lot of those transactions as well. Then the second part of this is very challenging. This one here, create an algorithm to detect spam. Displaying it, that's pretty cool. I know what's good. Detecting these in an algorithm, that's a tough challenge. That's very doable. A couple of notes down here. The units are in the data file, and the data, there's one user file with R2 in the file name. That's different. We have two labels on the person tracing the signal to the computer. All this ELG data is in the radio too. Like I said, beware of subject product. Now, the next one here, data visualization. Yeah, this is a really good one. We'd like to see a web-based data visualization tool we use. Right now, the display is on the computer. It's really nice if we can have that information broadcast in the lab and you can pull it up in a web interface. This is a really good challenge too. So in the human lab, like I said, it's required to use special hardware. And right now, this data is broadcast, multicast on the lab network. Well, obviously here is a tech edge. It's not going to be broadcast in the network. So at LabHack, you're going to read the data from the files. If you use two computers, like your team up, one guy could be writing the software that reads the files, broadcast, making the text, and letting the software play the data visualization. I'll show you that in the next picture here. So in the laboratory, we have the person, data acquisition hardware, software, and we multicast the data. This part right here, we don't have. We'd like to see this part here. At LabHack, there's two ways to go about this. One person can read it, multicast with the other guy, keep it in the display. That display should be able to pop up anywhere. But what we want to be able to do is watch the data. That's an experimental. Now, the second option here is to put it on the same computer. Read the file and display. Okay, now these challenges 4 through 7 are not well defined. They're very vague. A lot of room for creativity in here. Okay. Modeling time to state good logical data. Yeah, a lot of people work on that. Well, maybe we'll get some of that here. That's a tough problem, isn't it? Discover relationships between data. An example I gave here is freezing rate and heartbeat. So when you take a nice deep breath, you get a lot of oxygen, there's more value. But there's a lot of other relationships that may exist in this physiological data that we don't know about. You can find some brand new data. If you're going to look at relationships, you can make correlations to everything. The third one is also very challenging. Discover indicators of workload. And as I mentioned earlier, there's an experimental conditions file. So you're going to need to look at that and say, okay, that trial, that's a hard trial. So make sure you look at the experimental conditions file. And another thing that's high on the Air Force's list is looking at indicator business. So if you find some indicator of workload, okay, that is our business. Well, maybe these are different indicators of workload. So the second part of that is to keep these times and indicator differences. And the fourth challenge here is identify events associated changes in performance. So there is performance data available. You can see it in the performance drops. Okay. These are good about the correlated with that. An example I get here is a sudden change in pressure. Okay, next one.
And I think you also pre things.
Yeah.
Pre-indicators.
Yeah. Any kind of patterns you find before the event happens, while the event is happening, or after the event happens. And challenge number 8, data management. There's this product by IBM called Virtual Fear Screens. You can download the free version. So some of the questions is, can all the formal ones be integrated into one data, one system, which would be awesome too. Some of the data is sampled regularly. Some of the data is irregular. For example, heart rate data. We get the information in our system. It's going to be irregular. So can this software take both those data sets into it? What analytic capabilities does that software have? Does it have data visualization tools in it? And what are the pros and cons of the software? I know there's a lot of databases available for this new product. If you want to take on this challenge, Here's the web link to that to the product here. Next one. The last thing on that for you is some acronyms. You'll see these in the data. We'll talk about them a lot. ELG, as I mentioned, is electrolyte. Some people use the word ECG or EKG. Both same thing, interchangeable. That's heart rate data. EEG is electropoietic activity data. And if you see this abbreviation, you'll see this a lot in the data files. EH, that is the time history. It's not a dead data, but time history, time series. And you'll see some of this too, cash flow index. As I said earlier, that's check the measure workflow. The HVC, high value target over that data. And sometimes you'll see HRV, that's a heart rate variability. And that's it. Is that what I'm saying?
Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
And if you have any questions, anybody that's posing any of these kind of challenges out there, they'll be available for you to query them, ask them questions. If they want to see all possibilities of succeeding in any of the tasks they do. So I wanted to take some of this physiological data, take it a little bit farther into the future, and look at where the Air Force is very much interested in it. This is a problem that was brought to me by other biomedical engineers in the human performance wing. Lost my slide there.
It's coming.
Okay, it's coming up. And Adam couldn't be here. He's got a brand new baby, so he has to take care of that. So he asked me to speak for him. So what I'm going to talk to you about the spotting data connection for personnel monitoring. Go on to the first one. The scenario is this. An Ebola outbreak comes out. The Air Force is asked to supply some assistance for this. Can we monitor the people that are out there? You know, we want to be able to monitor the health workers. We want to get that physiological data. We want to be able to process it and see it. But when you go out into the outer villages and places where the Air Force Navy calls, communications are bad. Data is spotty. So we're thinking that you have a local connection that goes down to a cell phone. But how do you transmit that data through spotty connections so that you get information that's relevant? So you might have an original scheme or a priority scheme for sending out. I don't want to send out the EEG. I just want to send out an indicator. Or I don't want to send out the ECG. I'm just going to send out the heart rate. But I may even only send out the heart rate over when it changes or when something happens over time. But then something happens, and my priorities change. Somebody gets sick. All of a sudden, I want to know where that guy was, every kind of detail. All that detail here isn't stored properly, and I can now change my priority schemes to start bringing that kind of information, detailed information up there. This is kind of a tough problem. So you got this database problem where I may not have enough storage. I may have to run it off because EEG data and all this other kind of data really takes up a lot of space. So I want to keep it in a relevant type scheme. If you want to take it to the next slide, I'll show you kind of a scenario. We got people hopefully back monitoring all of these kind of situations where we may have people distributed in various things. This communication doesn't necessarily work all the time. We got to figure out when can it go up, how can it go up, how do we store the data, and what kind of information we have going up to it. And as I said, dynamically changing priority information. Okay, the next one. Matt showed you some of the kind of data that we're taking. Part of this thing is to really develop a system. We want it to be robust because we don't know what kind of data we want. That's what you guys are going to discover, hopefully, where some of the critical information is, but we don't know what it is. It may be voice data. We may have physiological data. Is he running, standing, stuff? Is he dead? You know, did something happen to this guy? If so, I don't want to pick up my bandwidth with that information, but I may have environmental monitors on him, and he could be a great data point for starting to it, so we don't send other people into that area.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
You want part of this to be for the software to decide which data is going to get transmitted?
And what we really need is the dynamic scheming of how that would all work together.
So it's not relying on a person to push buttons.
Right. Yeah, so we kind of put it, you have an original priority scheme, but as I said, that priority may change. I may want to change that. So somebody at that command station would change what the information is of
important to me. I don't know, maybe a little bit of time history of what the effects of this doing over time, in our side might be important. So essentially, to me, there could be events that, yeah. So the question, just to mention, like, we know that there are further than any, how posting, right? But, since the data storage is for the time for the micrographic is a structured solution for compress the data and store that maybe. What we do is to figure out is this when is this data going to be important and how should I go away? I have to prioritize on it. I mean, in order to save time, anybody that's interested in this challenge, come up and see me. You can explain some of the details. If you go down a little bit, we do have some of the technical problems that are associated with this challenge. So I don't expect anybody to solve all of the problems, but there's maybe one of the parts that you might want to take on. And then, of course, there's going to be some simplifying assumptions that we're going to use to be able to do it. So come and see me. We'll sit down if you're interested in this challenge. I think what's going to be this is kind of like if you really understand what comes out of the lab, eventually this is the way that data may be used in the whole scenario. And if you can solve some of those problems today, I have no doubt that we might be able to save some of the problems. Okay? If I can get you a little emotionally charged up about it, you guys are trying to save people's lives. Okay? All right, thanks. And Lewis, where's Steve? There he is. Lewis is going to talk about another part of the challenge that the Air Force might have.
All right, good morning, everyone. My challenge is different from the ones you have seen so far. We don't have any physiological data coming in. One of the biggest problems that we have so far is it's kind of easy to assess someone's performance, an individual's performance. Why not you have a team? How do we assess the performance of an overall team? Even if you have different people at different levels. Next slide. So here's the scenario. We have the United States national soccer team. They are trying to compete in the CONCACAF league, and they ultimately want to win the championship. So here's the problem. The coaching staff, they want to select the right amount of training drills to put increase the overall team size for each staff. Each position, right. So one thing to consider is that each position has a set of unique skills, and then each training is different from each other. So they will affect each position differently. Training drills are team-based, and then the biggest problem with no matter any scenario that you face you're facing is that how do you identify which combination of training drills to provide the overall will maximize team performance? And then another thing to consider is that if you have that combination of training drills, can I minimize that combination? So also make sure that you have the least amount of training drills to get overall team performance. Next slide. So we have, to make it easy, we have just 4 positions and then 3 skills per position. Next slide. So you can see you have a bar graph. We can assume that for this challenge there's no data applied. For this bar graph, the blue indicates this is what the skill of that's where the doing skill for that position. So we're not doing it by person, it's by position. So that skill belongs to that position. The orange data is basically what it's going to specifically going to enhance that skill spot. And we want it to reach optimal skill level. And as you can see, this is drill 1, this is an example, has different effects of each skill and for each position. Next slide. This is drill N, as you can see, they vary by position. So ideally, you want to choose the right set to ultimately get them up to your all. Next slide. Like I said before, some assumptions. We don't care about the people doing the positions. We care only about the position itself. So the skills are tied to the position. We're gonna assume that the training drills, we already know how much they're gonna increase the skill for each position. If you decide to do the same training drill, you're gonna see the units return. And then for the way to go from 0 to 100, 0 means that they're ranking, 100 means they're an expert. And let's say, well, I cannot get them to 100. Well, if you're able to reach 70, you can consider that that's a good point to reach. They are comfortable enough to move to base. That's about it. That's a little data. If you have a question, you're interested in coming out.
Okay. Now, you see, we're just a little bit past 9 o'clock. And so the next item on our agenda is that it's not all about educating. It's not all about training. It's about doing, right? That's what this exercise is all about here. So in order to frame of mind, I've got a little icebreaker, kind of get you interacting and talking here. And in this game, we have an ancient city of Atlantis. They built a solid rectangular obelisk called the Zin, and it was built in the honor of the goddess Kina. The structure took less than 2 weeks to complete. The task of your team is to determine which day of the week the obelisk was completed. You have 25 minutes to complete this task. I'm going to break you up into count off into small teams. The only thing about it, all the clues are in here. Each of you was given an equal number of clues. You cannot show the other people in your team the clues. You can only speak to the clues. You can read them, but together you have to put together the answer, which is, I will tell you, you will be given a task to determine at what day of the week did they complete the task. Okay? A very simple answer. Tell me the day of the week that they completed the task. So, if you want to start, start in front of the room, because they have to start in the back of the room. If you want to just count off by how many groups you got here about. I want to get groups of 6. So we can take and count off by 10, and then all the ones will go in one group and the 3s in another group. Okay? 1, 3, 4, 5. 5 right here. The one next one. 7. 10, 1, 3, 3 here. 4, 1, 2, 3. 5. Over here. 9, 1, 3, 2. First test is getting better. All those that want to come up volunteers, bring up here, and you volunteer, have money volunteers and I believe it was in the operation. I got I just start. Yeah, I think we need to do that all three.
Distribute them all round, so everyone should have a hand up. You got 30 something.
Any more teams?
I think one or two. I think one's still here. Your other team. Yeah, he went to.
How big are the average teams right now?
3, 2.
Okay. One, join with 6.
1 and 6.
One's join with 6. I want 6 people in the team.
All right, one's over here.
One's
One
with
over here.
6.
You have 6?
I'm taking 3. I only have 3.
I thought. Oh, okay.
1 and 6 over here.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, I'm taking 3.
Team
You want
2 and 7 over here.
No, like, I thought they did. Team 1, or team 6.
So I guess
Oh,
Sorry. You're 1 or 6?
1 and 6, 2 and 7, 3 and 8.
We'll get this right eventually. Yeah. One and 6.
Don't get us out front.
Yeah, 1 and 6.
Oh, so we're
Yeah.
I'm over. I'm
Either that or get one back.
I like that. Next part of the problem.
Wait, anyone please read the link? Okay, you guys are one team. Now,
Do we have to stay in here? Do we have to stay in this?
I don't think so. I mean, we're going to talk about the blue.
Everybody,
Yeah.
hold on a second. Okay. We got our teams together. There's about 6 in each team. Okay, now volunteers, pass out the cards to the team. We'll have all of the blues here. Give them to the point where the team members have some like this. You'll have some like this. But I can't see what she has. We can't. All of us have to keep our clues to ourselves. Okay? Keep our clues to yourself. The rules are you can only talk to communicate. The key is you'll need the whole team to figure out the puzzle. Okay? The whole team will be happy to be involved for their puzzles. You don't know who's got critical clues. Okay? Go ahead. Pass out the thing. You can go into wherever you want to. I mean, yeah. Go with your volunteer. There's room for that.
We should go out today.
Robert, I'll follow you guys. I might then. We don't have to.
Christina and I are voting for one.
Yeah, don't you guys Yeah, Lance, you know where we can go. Yeah, you have to say, or, yeah. We're taking the
What do you do?
we look at 5 and the first
What day of the meeting did they complete the task? Still no problem. What day of the meeting?
Okay. So the live broadcast was up. It was about 5 seconds late. Oh, really? Yeah. No, it wasn't bad. So I'll be up there.
There was another person that walked away. No, I sorry, you're right.
Yeah. We have one.
General announcement, you cannot write down. Cannot write down. General announcement, yes. Okay, everybody has a good memory.
How many day one? How many?
You get a cube outside. Project starts on day one. That's got to be identification. The project starts on day one. Project starts on day one.
Is it? Because the like the gap between the back wire is a like airplane rated, so like if you have like a Mega Man or yeah, they won't make it anymore. Yeah, whoever owns is it Disney at this point? I don't know. Is it? Yeah. Oh God. I've never seen Sam.
Star Wars same time.
No, Star Trek. You know, this is short for I'm going to Google this. Who owns Star Trek? Never guessed that. No.
Yeah, I almost brought a switch.
It looks like they were running.
So somebody could, that would realize you don't need that, all the infrastructure here.
Yeah, I was really surprised. Everything's here.
Oh, 40 days. No work takes place.
Yeah, well, the last day of the work week or the better part of the year, like it, we do it. But, yeah, you have to have a good when it actually comes to yeah, it's on the last day of the last.
So you had your first experience kind of like
Don't make me present. You saw the outside.
Yeah.
Of course it's
Yeah, so what we did round, right?
Ding, 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 we have a winner. All right. Yes, ready for the second. All right, let's call in the other group. Call in
Where'd you guys get?
Mermaid.
I don't know, it might have been on one of the cards. Oh, it's fine, no one did it. Right, so I'm saying 4 days.
All right, everybody can stand around. I want to just ask you a couple questions. Okay, first off, congratulations to the team back there. They were first and in very, very close seconds. I wanted to ask team one, how did you solve the problem? There's interesting thing. This is really interesting icebreaker because this is what you're going to be doing over the next day. If you talk, there's information. Everybody has information. We don't know who has all of the right information. We don't know how to put it together. So you got to talk amongst each other to figure out who's got the right piece of information that I need to be able to get it. So talking is a really important part of that. What was your experience over here? We had several different approaches at first, and they were really silent, and it took a lot longer, and they would realize that we had to be different over all of the facts and purpose.
there's going to be a lot of approaches to this, and this is the right approach. So I think we got to kind of figure that out, and I think there's ways in the South to be able to do it. And then you all figured out that there was a lot of spurious information. And I think the other thing is, if you go down to the back end, when you start to the past of what day of the week was, you all try to figure out what day of the week are the names of the days of the week. You got to put that off to the end, because that becomes very confusing. All of those names and terminologies become really confusing. Terminology can confuse us. Yeah? And so, these are some of the key things. The real approach is to not walks in the week, get the height of the size of it. How much of those blocks will you get laid in a day? How many days will you get done? When you break it down, it's actually a problem. Okay? And all the information is there. But again, the key learning out of this is that this is what you guys are doing. We've got some tough problems. We don't know which ones you guys want to pick to work on. But again, collectively, you guys are really smart. Yeah? And we can figure it out. So just keep that in mind when we continue to approaches to things like that. How do you figure out what to do right now? All right. Guys, have any other observations about it? Find it fun? Challenging? Fun? Throw out a relevant data. And figure out what's the irrelevant data. If you think about the human physiology data, we don't know what's the irrelevant data out of that. We want to know where people are going to get over. Because in the end, if you guys can figure this out, and we can test it, we can stop a guy from making a mistake. When you drop the bombs, that's the thing that you stop. All right? So I told you, you probably will have saved so much life. I need to use that. So with that, I think what's next on the agenda? Where did Monica go? Where's our okay, there we go. Team formation. At this point, what we want to do is figure out anybody who's got an idea of one of those challenges. You can talk to Matt, myself, or Louis, or you can ask us with any kind of question. As soon as you get an idea of which one you want to work on, use the whiteboard, write it up there, and see if anybody wants to come and help you join working on that problem. So with that, I'm just going to let you guys intermingle and start forming up the teams that you want.
Remember, no single hackers.
No single
Everyone has to find a team of some sort.
You're not part of that.
Yeah. Okay. Really doing the yeah.
You can if you want. Okay.
One moment, do you guys need sticky notes or any kind of stuff like that to put it on the cafe area?
So you're not in the corner somewhere where
It doesn't matter the order they do it, so they don't get fresh on X first, and then they other it just sounds like you do have to find how many they need and do that. Right around now.
So what is your, what do you think with that one? You put them
It sounds just like find out how many it would take, and then I'll see what we're trying to optimize because no matter when you do it, I have to save time.
So, I mean, I think what you're trying to ask, tell me that if
when I'm looking, and also just by the way, this is not like a time critical task. It can be computed overnight or something like that, right? Yeah. So that's one of those.
each one of these, like this is one drill, like the short pass.
And that's like to that guy.
Or in, or is that?
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, set to set. Now.
Each one was providing a different very
It doesn't matter how much he has.
So to help you answer your question, let me go back.
Like you have to be good at passing.
Right, no, there was no magic about it. So, I mean,
There are some ways, there are some priorities,
yeah, conceptually,
This is like true. This is like pre-season.
Like second half.
And that's why they get set.
Yeah, so.
So I couldn't do mine synchronously. I didn't do it when
I understand what's happening. I don't know why, because it's like we forgot how to pass.
No, I can only, I did it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring
I'm sorry, is that affecting the broadcasting or not?
What's that?
Did it affect the broadcasting?
It's probably broadcasting us right now, but it's not big deal. We're not really. Not
So where do you put it back again?
So I did.
What it was?
I was just gonna have one of the presentations up, and then do a share on that.
Initial with FSLD.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But then. Come on.
All right, so yeah, that's I mean, that'd be great.
This will be my second. No, I did a hackathon. I was part of the startup weekend hackathon last year. I don't have a whole lot of experience with them. I've done a couple small ones, but for basic. How's it going, guys? Stay away from them. I was going to use the whiteboard to create a center point. That works.
Are you on a Wi-Fi?
No, we were. We can get it to work.
Okay. How are you right now?
Right now,
PGA. You're not going to you're on the net.
No, computer inputs, that's not going nowhere?
Oh, that's great.
Hey, David, just want to pick up the wireless. You can pull in as well. You want to do it by Are you guys getting set up for the presentation later?
Well, yeah, I'm just wondering how to put my computer.
So we're doing a Google broadcast. So we're out the easiest thing would be to download, right? Send him an invite, then he joins on the screen test for him, so he can use it. Yeah.
It works with that whole computer.
You're going to send me an invite?
Yep. I'm here. We're figuring it out, so.
Oh, no, I haven't.
One moment.
What's your email address?
Joel at openbci.com.
Scrap.
Scrap's going to talk about theirs.
They'll be the first two presentations. So, and some of them might tie in.
Yeah, we might.
As well as online.
Okay. We are screen casting too, so you guys don't have to be in the room to see all the presentations. There's live feeds on the labhack.org website. And also join Slack if you haven't, because that's where I yell at people at. So I can't yell at you if you're not there. The big invite here.
Real shirt open.
No, actually, I'm productive, so I can't keep
He's got some easy ones to hard ones. You can make it your own. I can't remember.
I don't think so. I'm not sure if I want I don't know. This is interesting. I think so for this problem, you're going to have random team makeups where everybody has different skills. Well, everybody. How many positions are we looking at?
So this is the most
we want to increase skills. Well, how many did so are there like
so let's say we have I'm going to list out the three for each, right? Well, let's say which one is at 30, 40, 5, random number.
yeah, that's fine.
And then there's no role team level, right?
Okay.
And you
Is
can
that
say,
an average or is that a minimum?
so you would have to go with the criteria to tell that, okay, based on what I have, they are like over the
How do you determine where they're currently at?
That's part of the problem.
Okay.
It's easy to assess it's individual, but how do you know where the team is at based on what you have already?
Okay.
That's one of the bugs that come up with.
Okay.
And based on what I have
earlier, each of the different roles has a weight on it, on how important it is, they know that. And if you have the actual skill and the weight on it, you can compile an index, which is how the team is as a whole. How ready the team is to play the next game, I should say. Part of how these are calculated is that it's more important that you be quick and fast versus this team, and it's more important that you shoot accurately versus this other team.
Being a nerd, this probably made a whole lot more sense as soon as I changed it to D&D classes. So we got a fighter, a mage, and a player.
Right.
It's like, okay, so this person has this skill set, which one level up? And that, when I said that, I said, okay, that makes sense.
So is there only one type of drill?
no.
Okay, so there is more than one type of drill. That was my earlier question.
Yeah, so we have X amount of training there, right?
Okay.
One.
There aren't a set amount of type of each drill.
And so each of these drills, do you know the rate at which it affects each skill?
Yeah, so if you don't have no data, you can have establish well the training drills and then how they affect each hand skill.
Okay.
Basically, you're creating a base model.
So this is known though, right?
Yes.
So we don't have to we don't have to calculate anything. We know like drill 1 affects type 1 by 10 or whatever.
Yeah. 15, 10, 5, 1, etc.
And so these numbers on the left side can be random, and you need to get the overall team to a particular point.
They feel it's optimal level, but for sake of challenge, you can say if the team reaches 70, they're at good level, we can consider that a win-win.
Okay, and that number I'm sure is variable. And you also need to so you need to have as few drills as possible that across all of these spectrums.
They can get either 2 mark up again.
Right. They have to get
Here. Or you can say, I didn't get the 100, but I'm satisfied that I reached
and so
some X number that you.
but every team member in every skill must meet that minimum number, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, so this seems like really simple problem. It's only like 4 rows, 3 skills, and that's only like and if we just force this is like
It's not actually that simple
I know.
because of the training business.
That may, as long as you have an array of all.
yeah, but I imagine you use some software like 100 or 1,000 people all together. That's okay, yeah, that adds a lot of complexity.
What?
Well, because group one seems like really simple, but I think for his use case, this is a base case. What he's looking for is your skill is up and down. Right. So that can be.
That's what I'm.
Right, because this can be over like 100 people in the same team. The skill can be different.
So basically, when you create the algorithm for this, you can obviously apply for football team, you can apply professional team, you can apply for like Dungeons Drag and see.
Or even
Or
US Army.
I get that. I get how it applies. The question is like, so you have a team average then would be like the 30. So like overall, the average person in this part of the squadron, like if these are the people, I don't know.
The effectiveness of the drills they follow throughout the entire.
No, they're exponential decay.
No, I mean, if a drill is this effective yesterday, will it still be effective the day after?
Well, I don't know if it matters.
It does. Well, if it's from game to game, you can keep it the same, but what I said for a particular game is to try to use that training drill multiple times. Yeah, but no matter how many times you do a long pass drill, it's always going to be disineffective no matter how, no matter when you do it, at the beginning of the season or the end of the season, long pass drill will always be disineffective.
So what's interesting to me is that since it has exponential decay, you need to mix the drills because otherwise it would be
You become repetitive and all.
yeah. Right. So do you have a rate of decay yet, or is that you want to be able to program that as a variable?
That's just like
Okay, so exponential decay is a variable, and you want to do as few drills as possible. Those are
yeah, you make it
that makes it simpler. You could make that generic too.
I think most everybody was given the drill order 1 compared to
before.
would the 1-2-1 still be affected by the decay?
So you're saying so instead of if I have this and I have 5 groups instead,
Yeah.
Right.
but it's still the same. It's still the same as the matter before it is.
It doesn't matter, just as long as you do the same thing, it happened before it decays. Okay. Clear.
Yeah. I imagine that would not be an absolute for all real life.
It doesn't matter, just for
Right. I would imagine in practice you would find training effects there, but
they can always adjust that, and like we can leave. They can always like add a function that does that later.
Yeah. I think this is definitely doable in a very algorithmic way, but
So the other ones are more of a technical.
Yeah.
this is defining an algorithm. Yeah. Because I mean, once you have the algorithm, it'll be like one function.
And this is just for essays, so like, you guys in college or you guys? But yeah, so when you guys work at a company, they might give you like a technical problem, but like, I think for most DoD organizations, most problems are
Yeah.
they make it really hard to try to figure it out and then apply it like
So what's the next step? I mean, we're all discussing this. Let's say we were to form a team, then what would happen? Yeah.
And you have to.
No,
I was just gonna say about the problem, but I think it's
Yeah.
You know what?
The next step I think would be to just work on it.
but if you decide to work on it, you just have to establish a number and then you create an X amount of resources with how much you should then.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. I like it. Seems useful. Like there are practical applications to it.
Yeah.
And I think it would impact a lot of people.
I think right now everything is going more in the team, and then one thing is more complex team to team.
Yeah. So, do you need to figure out teams yet, or is that?
Kind of.
Sign up. I don't know if we just say we're
I
working
think you
on
make
it.
up a team and then work on it. Change now here.
That's why I immediately say things like, I can do this. I got this.
My first competition, so cool if keeping it something.
I'm not saying I necessarily give it yeah.
Well, do you want to find a room to break out?
Are you guys doing this problem?
No, actually. That sounds like
as they get around the move.
Yay! Got black. Yeah. Yeah, it's you.
Okay, so all the things that are in here, if you want to, I can pull them all out of this.
Yeah, basically.
It's right on the desktop.
Okay.
Just desktop. There's the three that we got.
I'll just email them to myself. Thank you. No, that's an iframe.
The lunch starts at noon. That's when the day passes. We'll arrive at 12:30. And this is stack. Basically, I think they have data on.
Okay, I'm gonna kill the Lab Hack morning presentation. Shit, it looks. Doesn't even look like it's running. Oh, was Joel doing testing on here? Okay, I better give him a heads up that it's gonna switch over. Yeah, at noon. Yeah, Joel, so we're gonna kill this because there's an 8-hour limit on each one. So we're gonna kill this when it starts. We have one that starts and ends. No. Yeah.